Hello and welcome to the Outlaw series and the second playlist in our series, and this is on digital transformation in a regulated environment. We've talked to a number of our key contacts and clients on some of these issues, looking at it both from an institution or customer point of view and also the suppliers to those institutions. So we've got examples of digital transformation in banks, both from the supplier and customer point of view, and also around the area of gambling. As you can imagine, digital transformation in the regulated environment throws up a number of really interesting legal issues. The primary reason for this is that companies still have to deal with all the regulations that they always used to deal with in an offline world, in the online world, and this can be quite difficult when you're looking at a digital transformation. Many of the laws and regulations were designed for an offline world or for a technology world that looks very different from the one that we see today. One key example in financial services is the provision of cloud. The regulators around Europe, because of the European directives on this, make it very clear that if you want to use a cloud supplier, there has to be a contract in writing which includes audit and access rights for the regulator of the premises and systems of that supplier for any crucial systems. Now, many of the suppliers will say in response to that, is there really a need for the regulator to have audit and access rights to see a series of blinking lights in a data center? And while I and many of the clients that we deal with have a lot of sympathy with that view, the regulators are saying they're hidebound by the European legislation on this and therefore require that audit and access right, and that can often create a bone of contention between the supplier and the financial institution. And I think this encapsulates very neatly one of the key difficulties, because many of the laws and regulations are really struggling to keep pace with technology. The laws and regulations were created probably with the offline world in mind, or perhaps a more straightforward IT infrastructure. And what we're seeing now in digital is so many different ways of providing IT. You've got software as a service, you've got platform as a service, so you've got different cloud provisions might have very different flavors themselves, and you've certainly got a separation of data, hardware and software, both probably physically and probably over a number of different territories, and that's not really what many of our laws and regulations envisaged at the time they were enacted. So, as I mentioned earlier, we've asked some of our key contacts and clients to come and speak to us about these issues, and as I mentioned earlier, we've got a range of people from suppliers to customers and some consultants. I hope that you enjoy it and find it useful. Thank you.